Okay, we're gonna take a brief tour of the Multimedia Fusion interface. So first we're gonna look at creating a new application. There are many ways to do this. 3. We can go to the File menu, choose New, or we can use Control-N, or we can click this icon here and it'll create a new application. So I'm gonna press Control-N and create one. Now you can see it added to the workspace toolbar, the new application. We can have multiple applications open, as you can see, and they all will show in the workspace toolbar. And the name of the application is shown there, and then under it, it shows each frame to the application. And automatically one frame is added to an application when you create a new one. Now we're going to right-click on this frame, and we're going to look at these options here. We can switch between the multiple editors that we're going to go over later. And we can add a new folder, new object, rename, clone, cut, copy, paste, delete, preferences, and properties. So I'm just going to create a new folder. Now you can see that the folder is here under the frame. Now we are going to look at the properties panel. So if we click on applications, we can see the properties for that application. If we click on frame, we can see the properties for that frame. If we click on new folder, we can see the properties for that folder. We can see properties for anything that is shown in the workspace toolbar and edit them as well. So say we want to rename this folder to something else, we could just click on it, and then here we can change it to whatever we want. So say we want to call this cheese, then we just type in cheese, and then this is called cheese. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Storyboard Editor, which is shown here, and you can get to the Storyboard Editor by just double-clicking the application. You can go to View Storyboard Editor. You can also use Control-B. And then you can also click this icon here to also view the Storyboard Editor for the current application that's selected. So now here's the Storyboard Editor. We can change the title of the frame, passwords, pixel dimensions you can change. You can add fade in and fade out transitions. And we have a thumbnail view of the frame here. And then we can add more frames by clicking the frame number next to the more. See, it's adding more frames, and as you can see, they're automatically going into the workspace toolbar. Now we can also use this toolbar up here, and we can zoom in and zoom out, and then we can edit it by number also right here. Here we can change to show the headers or not. Here we can show the comments. So next we're going to take a look at the frame editor. So let's go into frame 1 of application 1. This is called the frame editor. This area here is the stage, and this is the visible region of your application. Anything that's put in this gray area will not be seen when you make your application. Here's all the objects that are in the application or in the frame. As you can see, cheese has been added because we added that to this frame. So now I'm gonna insert an object. We can insert an object a number of ways. We can right-click, choose Insert Object. We can go to the Insert menu, press New Object. We can right-click here and choose New Object, as we saw before. So I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to choose what object we want. I'm going to insert an active object. Okay. Now I have this T shape. Wherever I click, it's going to insert this active object. So I'm going to click here, and see now the active object is there, and now it appears here and here because it's inserted into this frame. Now I'm going to insert one more object by using this method. I'm going to scroll down and insert a button like that. Okay, now we're gonna view how to edit this object. Say we don't want this diamond shape, we want it to look different. We can just right click on the object and choose edit, and then it views the editor. I'm going to cancel that. And also we can also edit buttons by right clicking and press edit, and then we can change the text of this button to whatever we want it to be. Say we want it to be next. Now next is on the button. Now, as you can see, this when object is selected here, you can also see it over in the properties. There's also properties for the objects. Now we're going to look at locking objects. We can right click and choose lock, and this will lock the object so it can't be moved or selected anymore. There's also rename. We can rename this. Instead of active, that's kind of a general name, we can rename it to whatever we want, like diamond. And now it is called diamond and diamond. We can also change the button the same way by choosing rename, and we'll call it next. Now it's shown as next and next. Next we're going to look at the clone option. To clone an object, cloning object is going to remake a new object with the same, that looks exactly the same. So we can clone object. Now this is how many rows of the object you would like. So let's say we want 4 rows. We're going to have 3 columns, and then we can add spacing between the rows and columns. Now we press OK, and as you can see, it made those rows and columns as we selected. Now you can see these are completely different. It named them numerically. This is diamond, and then we have diamond 2 and diamond 3 and diamond 4, and all the way up to diamond 12. And so these objects can be edited independently of each other. Now we also have the duplicate feature. I'm going to insert another object, another active right here. We're going to call this one the other diamond. So now we have this other diamond. And now we can choose duplicate. Now this may sound the same as clone. The same menu comes up, and you can change these options as before, and you'll get the same looking thing. But notice that there's only one other diamond still. And if you select other diamond here, it selects all these diamonds. These are all other diamond. Different than up here where this is diamond 1 and then this is diamond 2. These are all other diamond. So now let's look at some more of the options. We can order them, like on top of, to back, to front, the same controls that you've seen before. And then we have align and frame. If we want this to be in the horizontal center, then I'll center it like that. Then we have other options, make same size. Text, can change the text that we have. Cut, copy. If you copy and paste an object, it's the same as duplicating it. So I can do Control C, then Control V, and then see I get this T again, and then it's going to insert this. And this is still other diamond, the same diamond. Now we're going to look at moving around these objects. So we can drag objects by just clicking down the mouse and dragging them. like that. We can also move objects with our arrow keys. Now notice we can also stretch out objects or rotate objects. Like I'll stretch out this object here. And see it stretches out. You just hold this and drag it. Hold the little handles here. We can also stretch out objects by holding down the shift key, then using the arrow keys, and we can stretch them out like that. But what happens if I edit one of these other diamonds? I'll edit other diamond. Now I move it. Since these are duplicates of each other, they're all going to change. They all will move when you edit one of them because they're all the same other diamond. Okay, that's it for the frame editor. I'm just going to move this next button down to the corner. Now we're going to take a look at the event editor. There's 4 ways to get to the event editor. You can there's an event editor separate for each frame, as well as an event editor for the entire application. We're just going to look at the frame event editors for now. So we're going to right click on the frame, and then we can see event editor, or we can click here. We can use Control E. We can use this button here, or we can go to View and then Event Editor. So I'm going to switch over to the event editor by using Control E, and now you can see the event editor has appeared. We have all our objects, including our button, and we have conditions and actions. We're going to add conditions and actions. So I'm going to make a condition that tells when you press the next button, it's going to go to the next frame. So how are we going to do this? So when do we want it to go to the next frame? We want it to go to the next frame when the person clicks the button. So we're going to add a new condition by clicking New Condition. And then we have this button here, our next button. We're going to right click on it, and we want when the button is clicked, then we're going to right click in the storyboard controls. We're going to want it to go to the next frame. So now it's saying when button next is clicked, then it's going to go to the next frame. Now how about we make it so we're going to add a new condition, and then after 5 seconds, let's say we have this timer here, we're going to right click. When the timer is at 5 seconds, then we're going to destroy other diamond. So I'm going to write under the other diamond here, we're going to destroy other diamond. We're right clicking, and then I choose destroy. So now we have 2 conditions and actions. When button next is clicked, it's going to go to the next frame. When the timer is 5 seconds, we're going to destroy other diamond. Now we're going to look at the events list editor. There's a number of ways to get there. We can right click on the frame and then choose event list editor, or Control L, or we can go up here, event list editor, or we can click this thumbnail here. So I'm just going to click, and now I have the event list editor. The event list editor is just another way of looking at the event editor. So as you can see, it shows the events that we already added into the event editor. So now we're going to look at testing applications. So to test an application, what we have to do, we can either test the current frame that's selected, or we can test the entire application. Let's say we're going to look at testing frames first. So we're going to test frame 1. If we test a frame once, when any object tells it to go to the next frame, then the window will just close. So there's a few ways to test frame, we can either go to Run and then Frame, or we can click right here, Run Frame, or we can do F7. So I'm just going to press F7. Now we can see we're running this frame. Now if we wait 5 seconds, it should destroy our other diamonds because of our active object. And then if we click the next button, it's going to take us to the next frame. But since we're only testing this frame, it's going to close when we click the next button. So I click it and it closes. Now if we want to view the entire application, all of these frames, then all we have to do is do Application. This is also done by F8 or by clicking the button. And as you can see, they disappeared after the 5 seconds like they're supposed to. Now I'm going to click Next. And as you can see, it goes to the next frame, which we haven't put anything on, so it's just blank. This concludes our brief interface guide.